Welcome to Talk Tennis. We've got the ladies today, Brittany and Tiffany.
Good morning.
Yeah. Thanks for joining me. I was saying we should shift topics and just do a girls chat.
We could chat about that for a while.
Actually, maybe we should start like just girls. We work with all the boys, and sometimes it's like, ew.
We need some girl time.
Yeah. But today we're going to talk about summer tennis specifically. And both of you guys, I thought, would be great for this because, Brittany, you grew up in one of the hottest places in California.
Yes, I did.
Playing tennis. And you've been playing a lot of tennis. And you have kids. And Tiff, you are just like, I always think you help us with all of our content. So you've been doing all this great summer content for our players. And you have kids.
I do.
And both your kids, or all your kids, are playing a little bit of tennis. So I thought you guys would be the experts to talk about this.
Well, let's see. Let's dive in.
I'm ready.
Okay,
Let's go.
Great. We're going to start with a quick fire would you rather.
Ooh.
This will be fun. Would you rather play at noon in 105 degrees or 40-mile-per-hour winds?
Oh, noon at 105.
Yeah,
100%.
noon at I mean, I did not grow up in the desert where it's hot, but 105 where I grew up during the summer was not unheard of. I'd pick 105 over 40-mile-an-hour winds.
And I don't mind winds.
Yeah, I know. I was like, you always like the winds.
I'm always like, everyone hates the wind. So I'm like, we're both going to deal with it. I just am going to know that I'm going to deal with it better. But yeah, it doesn't mess with my game nearly as much as the wind. Like, I know I have stuff I can prep for heat. It's a little harder to prep for the wind.
Yeah.
I did not grow up where it's windy.
And lately, it gets a little windy in our little tennis warehouse tunnel. New strings every match or new shoes every month?
New shoes every month.
I think I'm going to agree with Britt there.
New shoes.
Yeah, new shoes.
I'm notorious for the longer the strings are in my racket, the better. I typically, if I'm prepping for a tournament, I try to string it about 2 to 3 weeks before, and then knowing that 2 to 3 week is kind of like my sweet spot, and then I can pretty much keep them in for a couple weeks after that as well. So nice. I like kind of fresh new shoes. I don't know, for movement.
Yeah. I think just shoes are fun. Although, I mean, I probably should choose string because string does not last as long, but then shoes are fun.
Shoes are fun.
Color coordinate.
We've got the girls, so we're going to be the ones that pick the shoes. Unlimited sunscreen or unlimited electrolytes?
Sunscreen.
Yeah, I'm aging. I'm thinking sunscreen. I wish I'd have done sunscreen more when I was younger.
I was going to say we all were exposed to a lot of sun growing up, and I feel like, well, at least on my side, it's kind of catching up a little bit. Been to the dermatologist a lot lately, so yeah, I put on so much sunscreen on my girls. They're going to appreciate it one day, but right now they're not the biggest fans.
Yeah, same. I mean, I talk to my kids. I'm like, take care of your skin now.
Yeah.
But
I know we have like one brand of sunscreen, but do you guys have a favorite sunscreen that's your go-to?
So I have
I was going to say, and again, we got the girls, so like I'm guessing if you're like me, something for the face, something for the arms.
I was going to say I have like a list, but yeah, like on my face, I like the stick for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I know we sell one that's a stick, but there's a couple brands out there that do the stick with the mineral, and then I prefer the spray.
Yeah.
For and there's a couple. There's like a clear one, and then there's also one we use. It's like kind of like it turns into like a powder. I don't know, but the spray on the body. I feel like that. Maybe I just don't like touching sunscreen.
Yeah, that's fair. That is fair. Yeah.
I don't have, well, for my like arms and legs and things, I don't have a general one. I just go for, I like a mineral sunscreen.
Okay.
And I'm looking for one that doesn't have like a super heavy white cast.
Yeah.
And then same for the face, I guess.
Have you guys tried the powder on the face?
I haven't. But it looks
use
interesting.
it.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of like moms do it with their younger ones because you can just like brush it on their face. It's supposed to be really nice.
Might be something to try this summer.
Yeah. Hat forever or sunglasses forever? Neither of you guys really wear sunglasses or hats? Visors?
Visor for me. I've tried to play in sunglasses in the past, and I know some people that can. It's just, for me, it feels very limiting. My perspective and peripherals feel very limited. But yeah, I will, if I'm outside, I will always be in a hat or visor, but mostly visor.
Yeah, I'm mostly a hat person. Indoors, I don't play with either. Sunglasses, just the shape of my face, they do not stay up. I would require like one of those, the band things, because otherwise they're just sliding off my face. But always a hat outside. I just prefer hats.
You should give a shout out to one of the hats we carry.
Oh, yeah. My favorite hat is the Vim Hue hat. Whether it's the Sun Goddess or the ex-boyfriend, I just like it because I have my hair long now, and so it fits my ponytail. But yeah, every time I'm outside, hat.
Nice. Last one. This is kind of silly because we don't really do either around here, but clay courts or grass courts in the summer?
Grass court.
I would just love to play on either. Yeah. Really. I mean, it's been a long time since I've touched either surface. Yeah. So.
I think for me, my movement might be slightly better on grass. I don't know. And then, clay, there's a lot of grinding on clay.
Yeah.
There's a lot of balls. I feel like I've played on both in my life, and I prefer grass.
Yeah, maybe because I just like to play longer points. I need to learn how to slide.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's all.
Yeah.
And maybe the grass makes me feel like I'm hitting the ball harder because it kind of penetrates through the court a little bit better.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Well, I also want to ask you guys, how do you feel about UV apparel? It seems to be like super trendy right now on men's and women's side. Are you wearing it, or are you still wearing when we were younger, it was like, we were talking about this the other day, like, let's get the tan lines and wear our tank tops with the racer backs. And now it's kind of like everyone's covering up. So how do you guys feel about UV apparel?
I personally wear it a lot, mostly when I'm going on hikes or just spending the day out at the beach. We're usually wearing like a long sleeve UV rated top. I need to get more used to it when I play tennis. Maybe I grew up playing, I don't know, just not like in short sleeve shirts and tank tops. So like even when it's cold, I typically will end up taking off my long sleeve. Mm-hmm. So I just need to get used to that. And I'm just using sunscreen, but I do really like UV apparel. And even though when it's really hot, you would think, why am I wearing a long sleeve? Some of them have Ivy Cool and other things have cooling technology. So it actually feels cooler. Like the sun's not like baking your skin. I don't know. But I'm a big proponent of it.
Yeah.
I just need to
embrace it
and
do it myself, do as I say.
Yeah.
Yeah, similar. Like if I could wear a long sleeve to play, I would, but I would wear it for like coaching or teaching or something more casual where I knew I wasn't, maybe high intensity. But I have found myself now even wearing just even a cap sleeve to kind of cover my shoulders.
Yeah.
At the last tournament I played, I got a bunch of cap sleeves to make sure that my shoulders and back were covered for less sun exposure, and it's not as limiting as the long sleeve. But yeah, I think I love the idea of the UV protection, and I think we even have some like cropped ones, which I feel like I'm like, maybe I can start looking to incorporate that somehow into it.
Yeah,
might be a little better. But
yeah, actually, because I was thinking about getting some sleeves. I know I'm trying to ride my bike to work a little bit more, and I'm always thinking about that too. Like when I am riding home, I have my gloves on to try to cover the back of my hands, and then we'll put on a long sleeve shirt. But I think if I got like the sleeves, I could wear my t-shirt and then put the sleeves on.
There you go. Yeah. Dang, that's smart. What's the hottest temperature you've ever played in?
I was just talking about this the other day. So it would be in Indian Wells, California, where I grew up. It was it was summertime, and I think I was getting ready for sectionals. This is going way back to juniors, and it hit 120 on the temperature and then on the court. And so I remember I had a lesson, and Mom was like, well, let's just see what happens. I think the tournament was in a day or two, and I remember walking on the court, and it was like an oven.
Yeah.
And we attempted to kind of warm up, and we're like, that's not going to work. And then we attempted to, I remember sitting there, and he's like, okay, keep your eyes closed. and then I'll feed you the ball and open, and then
Oh my gosh.
it was like 5 minutes, and then we attempted some serves, and within like 10 minutes, he's like, we got to call this. My coach at the time, and I was like, I agree. There's nothing beneficial coming out of this because the court is
hot.
even hotter,
Yeah.
and so that would have been the like attempting to play, and I'd probably say. I mean, the desert we'd have high school matches in 105, 110. It wasn't abnormal. I believe they said, I can't remember, but it was like 110 they would cancel.
Oh my gosh.
Practices or something. So at the time, and now I feel like here in SLO, it's like 80 degrees. Like they'll start to be, there's like warnings and stuff like that.
Yeah. The CIF has completely updated their rules and bylaws, so there's that would never fly in today.
But 105 to 110 would be kind of playing competitively, and it's hot.
Yeah.
Even though there's no humidity, we can go into that.
That's what I was gonna say.
I'm gonna have,
Tiff, do you have a memory of like the hottest?
Yeah, I think it was about 110. I had a lesson. I think it was only like a 30-minute lesson. But we didn't really do much. You feel the heat coming off the court through your shoes. It's just, that for me, I don't think I did anything really. I just was like, let's go get some water. It's just too hot to be out on the tennis court at 110 degrees.
And I do want to go into some like dry heat versus humidity, but what are some of your tips for staying hydrated and like preparing for these conditions?
So I played a tournament last year in the desert, and knowing it was going to be, I think one of the matches was over 100. I definitely, prepping before is the key. So hydration, getting the electrolytes in, even prepping 2 to 3 days before. Like I started upping a little bit of salt intake and the electrolytes 2 to 3 days before, and then as well as throughout the match too. Like I was constantly adding, I think they're goo tabs we have, and a couple other that Running Warehouse sells as well. And then another big thing for me is a cold ice towel around the neck. Let me tell you, on a changeover, that thing it can make you feel like a whole new person. And so, like, if you have like a little cooler bag that has like your ice, and you can throw it on, like that to me, if you can get those two things to start, I think is a huge. Obviously, you need your visor, everything else, sunblock, but just prepping for that, the electrolytes, just the amount of I'm not even much of a sweater, and if I'm losing that much water. You gotta prep.
Yeah, for sure. That's good.
Yeah, definitely. I was gonna say like prepping, and it's not just the day of. It's like if you know it's gonna be hot, getting ready before. If possible, I always will seek out the smallest sliver of shade. Wherever it is, to just take a break. And also one of the things I really like to do was what Britt had said was if I have a towel and I can fill it with ice and just get it cooling the back of your neck really. It works pretty quickly, and I carry extra socks.
Oh, that's
when
smart.
it's going to be hot, I always am a big proponent of changing my socks regardless.
Yeah.
But if it's going to be hot, I'll change those even more frequently.
And even when in the middle of the match, I will seek the little shaded area in between points, or just something to. Quick second of relief.
Yeah, chill out for a minute. Yeah,
you're the returner or something, and your opponent's going to pick up the ball. Yeah, I'll stand up against the back of the fence if there's any sliver of shade that I can grab.
Yeah, nice. Well, let's talk about humidity. What's the most humid match that you've played? Do you remember? See, I have PTSD. I can't remember anything.
I was going to say it would either be Florida, some sort of clay court nationals because it was on clay, or one of the last times we went to our Atlanta location and Chris and I were filming something, and I remember he was absolutely dying. And I was like, it's not that bad. It's only 85. But then we realized after it was very high humidity. And what I have learned for myself is I'm not a sweater. So this is why I think.
That's nice.
I know.
I'm sweating just talking about it.
A little bit, but it was I feel like I wasn't losing as much water as he was. So I was like, okay, it's hot, but it's not bad. And he was just trying to do anything to keep himself hydrated. But yeah, I mean, it was probably 85. 90 in.
Yeah. Everyone in Atlanta is like, shut up, you California
Yeah.
girls.
I'm a California girl. I don't know what humidity is really.
Yeah.
I've never played like national tournaments and stuff. I mean, I was lucky enough to like travel one summer to Germany, and I don't know if it was humid. It was like rainy
probably
that
was.
summer. It was like cool and rainy that summer though, so it was like cool.
Humid though, yeah.
And then, I
Well,
mean,
I
I
did play
grew
in
up
Taiwan.
Oh,
In
Yeah.
a
Humidity?
very humid,
Yeah.
Me and Jason played doubles together against some people. It went as well as you think it went.
and you never played since then. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just
Maybe
kidding.
once or twice.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about prepping the kiddos for summer tennis. Because once summer comes, I feel like everyone's like, yay, more tennis, whether it's sending them to a camp or even just you guys both get out with your kids. I mean, you do during the school year too, but you have more time maybe in the summer to do that. So what are some like essentials if someone were listening and they're like us, they play pretty like a lot of tennis, but maybe their kids have never like spent a lot of time on the court?
Well, I mean, I think start with the equipment. I mean, you're going to obviously need a racket that fits them. So like if they're little, kind of figuring that out. We have one quick way is kind of like, you just, if you're not sure what level or what length racket to get your kid, is to have them stand there with their arms next to them or down by their sides, and you measure the length from their fingertips to the ground, and that should give you about the length of racket they should be using, because they start at like, we have them either 17 or 19 inches, so that's for like the little
tiny ones,
kids, all the way up to 26 before, and if you didn't know, 27 inches is an adult-sized racket. And then shoes, like actual tennis shoes, not like running shoes, because clubs are going to want you to wear non-marking shoes, and then just tennis shoes in general are going to be safer for them to be running around the court.
Yeah.
And then I think as they get older, we've all, I think, done a tennis camp, summer tennis camp,
So
whether
fun.
it's so fun, either if it's a day camp or an overnight camp. And I think just like almost prepping like it's a tournament. So, you have your bag, you have your rackets, and you have everything in there that you need. A towel is a huge thing. Let's see what else. Even like resistance and jump ropes, resistance bands and jump ropes, I feel like are something fun you can add in there. Either it's like if you're waiting to play, maybe you're in between, or even like at a tournament, I should say. That was kind of maybe prepping for a tournament. But having those in there waiting to play. What else? I'm sure we're going to get into this, but over grips.
Oh, yeah.
Over grips.
Which are meant to be changed for everyone. Like, I'm on a campaign. Like, you're meant to change your over grips.
I know, and I'm going to be the person that's like...
No, not even. But like I see these like everyone's home for the summer, so like high school girls, and I'm like, has it been 12 months since you changed that?
I'm not that bad.
It's like dangling off, or it's like brown, and it used to be pink. Anyways,
it does actually. I do like a fresh overgrip. Maybe not as like every matcher, but definitely like a fresh overgrip for a camp or a tournament. And then what else is good essentials for?
They're going to camp. I would definitely pack a snack.
Yeah.
Extra beverages, hat, some sunscreen.
Ooh, maybe even some like nutrition, and any little energy. Well, for adults, maybe more energy chews, but like different, apple, fruit,
a little bit of everything. Granola.
Yeah, something that's like can sit in their bag and. Then
melt.
If you're like my kids, if they're like my kids, not melt or be super messy, because I'll be cleaning that bag out later at the end of summer.
Well, and that's the other thing is you guys both, like, your kids like tennis, which is great, because I'm sure like there were some struggles maybe in the beginning. So if you're talking to a parent that's like, okay, I really want to try to like get on the court with my kid this summer, and they've never like had that experience yet, what kind of advice would you give to starting tennis?
I actually got some really great advice from Steve Johnson, so I'm going to give him a shout out. We were talking, we both have girls, and we were kind of similar ages, and we were both saying we just got started to get them out. This was maybe a year and a half ago, and we were talking, and his advice was to make sure you leave it fun. So like, even if you're only out there for 15 minutes, like make sure that they're ending on fun. So it's like they will want to come back the next time. And so I'll I'll bring out my girls, and my younger one, she'll be out there for a little bit, then she'll kind of do her own thing and come back. My older one's a little bit more into it now, but we always end with, I call it like an obstacle course game. So I set an obstacle course of like cones and things, and they have to go through it and then finish. And I can always get my younger one back out there for that. And we'll do that for like the last 5-10 minutes. And then almost kind of like they'll want to do more. And I'm like, oh, we're done. We can come back the next time. So kind of leaving them with a little bit of,
I want hungry. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
For starting off, for sure.
Yeah, that's similar to advice that I had heard before, and not just about tennis, but like other sports too. Like, is like, make it so they keep wanting to come back, and it's not like it feels like I have to be out here. They have to want to be out there. And so it's like being fun. One thing too is even if they're a little bit older, is we were just talking about these not that long ago, are the training balls. So if you can grab a couple of those, the red, orange, or green, they're just a little bit slower bouncing. So if they're brand new to the game, it really helps, like, because it's easier to get the ball back and get a rally going. Mm-hmm. So it keeps it more fun, and it's, just like not always hitting the net, or it's just easier to get that ball back and forth and playing games. So like those training balls are good when you're just starting out, regardless of age. The
first time I brought those out, then my daughter asked to do it out in the garage like the next day after, and we sat there and it was actually like the longest we had rallied. Cute. Obviously we had no net, but we kind of chalked out some, like a little tiny tennis court, and she wanted to get out there and just rally back and forth, and was very excited. Like, it just, the ball bounced for her because she's a little shorter, made it a lot easier for her to kind of make contact and be consistent.
Yeah, it's good to see those balls. I feel like when all of that started, it kind of like didn't get very popular, but it seems like there's a little bit of a popularity coming back into it with like the red balls. And
I've noticed with I teach my daughter, but I also have, she also has another coach that she listens to. Maybe a little bit more.
We all listen to him.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. But he is a big proponent of kind of mixing in the two. So cool. She'll have half of her lesson with the regular balls, and then he'll throw in the training balls for maybe more of a rallying type of situation. So it's kind of, she's getting the best of both worlds. And I feel like that's what I'm kind of seeing more and more, is they're using the training ball with the regular ball.
I like
That's
that.
Cool. Yeah.
Let's talk about some gear specifics. So let's start with strings. We kind of have we have an article about summer tennis and what we recommend for stringing. And Britt already kind of leaned in on what her preferences are. But Tiff, maybe you can explain like what maybe some good practices with your strings in the summer are.
Well, I mean, definitely we should always be checking our strings and restringing them. If you're noticing that like the responsiveness is gone, then it's time, even if there's not broken. That happens a lot more with polys than it would with like a multifilament. I personally will string looser when cold weather, because I feel like with the polyester, I play usually polyester full bed or a hybrid. And so I like when it's polyester, I will go looser when it's cooler, and then up a pound or two when it's warmer outside. The cooler temperatures, to me anyway, make the string bed feel firmer.
Yeah.
So that's what I...
And I'm so guilty of this, but are you guys like pretty diligent about not leaving your rackets in your car?
Oh, that's true.
Sorry. Guilty.
Try.
Yeah. I try. I mean, when I was a kid, I'd never think about it, and I don't know. But I think it does make a difference. I think about like the grip and stuff, like not just the strings and everything else, but the grip just baking. In Central Coast, we don't get that. We are spoiled, and we don't get super hot weather. But I mean, I know it's not great for your equipment, and you should not leave it in.
Yeah, Troy would yell at us.
Yeah, I definitely will try not to leave it in the car. Obviously, it happens, but try to bring them in whenever you can.
Yeah.
Overgrips. Let's talk about your guys' favorite overgrips and maybe some of the varieties of overgrips that we have for if you're in a drier climate or a more humid climate.
I personally am like a tacky fan. I don't sweat a ton. Mm-hmm. So my favorite go-to grip is I always use the Wilson Pro Overgrip in white specifically year round. My daughter, I had her testing out different ones, and she went to a dry grip.
Okay.
And like for me, some dry grips can be a little bit, maybe, I don't know if it's because I don't sweat a ton, that they can give me blisters.
They're a little rough.
Like, yeah, but the one that I've tried that she really likes is the Vocal V-Dry. And I've noticed that as a V-Dry, one, it has some fun colors.
Yeah.
But it also seems to last longer because some of those dry grips can, I think, wear out a little faster than the tacky ones. I don't know. That could just be me mentally thinking, because I don't use those a ton. I use mostly tacky. But I know that the V-Dry, I was really impressed with how long it was lasting. And we were changing it more because it was just getting dirty rather than it was wearing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest overgrip person. If I had the choice, I like just feeling the standard grip and like kind of feeling.
You're not alone though. There's especially like I find a lot of women like prefer.
However, that grip does get gross,
Yeah.
and then I have to. So I will. Wilson Pro was kind of what I used for most of my life growing up. But I have been using Tourline overgrip, mostly too because it matches my grip, my racket, and my string. So I have a full, I've made my racket my weapon, but a very cute weapon.
Yeah. The Tourline grip's really soft too.
Yes, and I do like
Yeah.
that aspect, and obviously the colors too. I think I go between purple, which is my favorite, and then like kind of a minty blue that matches my Yonex. But
Nice.
yeah, I'm also more of a tacky feel, but I do notice with the Tourline, I almost have it's like one hit, and then I feel like it's almost kind of broken in. It's almost maybe too tacky right at the beginning for me, and then after about 30 minutes or so, it kind of
breaks it.
Yeah.
Nice. Do either of you or have you ever used like a Rawson bag or grip lotion or anything? It's okay to say no.
No, I haven't used it. No.
I haven't either.
I was going to say when I was really little, I feel like, like it was like when I was 10 to 12, it was kind of the thing to do the bag. But yeah, I haven't used it either. But I know the Prince the lotion is great. I know a lot of players use that, the dry lotion, and it does really work. We've tested it. But
well, and you guys don't sweat as much. I do. So I actually find that wristbands are the best way to like navigate the sweat to stop before it hits your hand and grip. So
yeah, I definitely do always though. If I'm playing like a tournament or something, a match, I would have something like a towel in my bag for switchovers to like dry it off.
Yeah, for sure.
I know the pros do it and a lot of people do it, but it does help too to bring a towel maybe to your side, have it on the side. I know some tournaments are a little bit like you can't have it in the back, but you can have it on the side now. It's but kind of going over not to just dry off, but it's also a good reset of the mental. Hopefully it's in the shade too, so you kind of get all three things. But yeah,
no, that's a good tip for sure. Let's talk about shoes. We have some of our sponsor players that live in some of these crazy hot, humid locations. We have one right now that lives in Vegas, one that lives in Texas, and these ladies have been specifically asking for lighter colored shoes for summer training. Have you guys ever or maybe you've just never worn like black shoes in the summer because they're not available. But do you feel like you've noticed a difference in the color of shoes and like, or like even some shoes not being as breathable and like having to, tell me.
Yeah, I don't know about color. I guess when I lived when it was hotter, shoes were almost 100% the time white.
Yeah.
Like the colorful shoes didn't come into the market till I moved over here, and it's so much cooler here. But I definitely notice a difference as far as materials. Like a mesh shoe typically offers a little bit more venting than like a shoe that has entirely synthetic leather, or nowadays it's more like a TPU like plastic cage or something that sometimes those can get pretty hot. And shoes that are like super cushioned can also feel hotter just because of all the foam that's in underneath your feet. But there's some shoes that have like venting. Head's done it, and I think Adidas is now doing it too. With like you have some venting on the bottom of the shoes, and it does work. Like you feel like it's not like it feels like it's air conditioned. I mean, they're shoes, but I will look for shoes with like a little bit more mesh if I'm looking for ventilation.
And I do find like after playing, match, or I always tend to take my shoes off right away. I don't know. There's something about getting them
Yeah.
off, getting them to air out. We do offer a couple of the bags, the wet dry bags. You can either throw your clothes in. Again, also change of clothes is always great if you're like in between 2 matches. Fresh outfit always feels good. But yeah, getting them off my feet, even if it's just for 30 minutes in between the two, kind of letting my feet air out, letting the shoes air out, and then regrouping there. And even too, I actually will bring 2 pairs of shoes to a tournament, and I've already worn both of them, so it's not like one new one and one old one. So they're all both kind of the similar wear time, and then I will rotate them too in between. So like I'll wear one for one match and then the next. So kind of air them out and.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, as the sweaty person in the room, I would highly suggest, if you know you sweat a lot, bringing a minimum of 2 pairs of shoes, because I have like memories of just setting everything that I wore that day on like the AC in the hotel to like hopefully let it dry. And then like, especially if you're in a humid place, you wake up the next day and you're like, and they're still soaking wet. Cool.
Wasn't it Andy Murray that left his shoes
out of the car?
Out of the car and with his wedding ring.
Wedding ring attached to
he
the
sweat
laces.
So he knows. Yes. Okay. I think we're about to wrap up. Is there anything that we missed that you think is like a summer essential for tennis, for you guys, for families, for kids? And then also, like, tell me, like, your one, like, maybe something that, like, isn't super popular or well-known, but, like, maybe is, like, your summer, like, secret hack, like, whether it's, like, a piece of apparel or I don't know. I'm trying to think. Electrolyte brand or...
I can start.
I'm like, I'm going rogue.
Well, obviously water bottles.
Yeah,
I have my
absolutely.
Stanley. We sell the Stanleys. I just got my older daughter one, and she's been
gosh.
obsessed with it. She like has it all with charms and stickers.
Okay.
She went all out. So having just having it throughout the day and hydrating, and then it's insulated to keep it cool. And then I'll give a little shout out to Sloane Stevens and her Dock and Glow brand.
Okay.
The little mist after, like, did it make me feel or smell less? I don't know, but it really felt good, and I felt like for me it was.
I think it has aloe in it.
Yeah,
too.
It was very kind of cooling, and so I always, after we play here at Tennis Warehouse, I'll just do a little spray, and
that's a good call.
It gives me a little pick me up.
Yeah,
that's
I love that.
One. We talked about how I don't wear sunglasses.
Yeah.
When I'm playing, but I always do have them.
Yes.
And polarized sunglasses. And if you can wear them, there are sunglasses that have like, I think it's Bolet. They have these like lenses that help you see the ball. But I do think that sunglasses are a great option to help protect your eyes. So like when you're out there looking for UV protection, like you can check to make sure that the lenses have that too, to protect your eyes.
Yes. And I'll speak for the sweaters again. I like a visor because of the ponytail, but Vimhue has fixed that problem. But the tough thing with sunglasses, I think, sometimes is if you sweat a lot, everything gets like all mushed up in your eyes and the sunscreen and everything. But I feel like I really like Gooder sunglasses just because they're like really affordable, and I have a tendency of misplacing things, and I can just throw them on, especially if you're coaching. Like, sun, protect your eyes, coaches. Like, please protect your eyes. I think that's a huge one.
I'm not above a bucket hat.
I was going to say,
the bucket hat.
Let's do a
Vim,
quick close for coaches. Like, what are some coach essentials? Because I know there's some coaches out there that are like grinding 8 to 8 this summer. Like, any things that you think are must-have? Bucket hat.
Bucket hat,
and
like
they're cool.
A little bit brim.
Yeah, the big ones.
Big brim. Obviously, the long sleeve, sunglasses, sunblock.
And drink water, you guys. Like, they need electrolytes.
Yes.
And well-cushioned shoes. You're standing a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the other thing with coaches is sometimes it's interesting. I've seen both where like some are trying to be really trendy and then some are just trying to be really comfortable. So
I actually, at the last term I played, I saw a guy and I was talking to someone that knew him, and he was a coach, and he was literally bucket hat. He actually wore a face mask then sunglasses to protect his face. Then he had long sleeves, shorts, and then he had something underneath as well, like a legging,
Like a sleeve?
the
Yeah.
sleeve under to protect. And he was like fully covered, like he was not messing around with the sun. And I was like, you know what? I can respect that.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, that person's been in tennis forever.
Yes, and
They're
he's been on the court.
yeah.
Even some of those long sleeves. I mean, if you're, they have the little thumb thing, so it can cover the back of your hands. I mean, if you're feeding and you don't mind, I mean, your palm's going to probably get the shirt a little dirty. Probably a little harder if you're playing to play with that down. But if you're feeding balls at that point, I mean, you know, there will be some wear on there, but that could help as well.
There's even some dresses I think now that have like a long. Is Lucky and Love have one?
Long sleeve
Wilson,
dresses?
yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Wilson
wow.
has the convertible one where
Yes,
the thing, like the long sleeve zips off, but Lucky and Love has a long sleeve dress too.
Nice.
Yeah.
So
So look good, be sun protected.
exactly fashion.
Amazing. Well, I think we're ready. Everyone's ready to go play some tennis this summer after all this. Good chat.
Yeah,
I'm ready for the
Thanks,
heat.
I was
Michelle.
gonna say it's like foggy.
I know,
and
as
70
I'm wearing my
degrees.
The
sweater.
June gloom is very strong here.
Yeah.
We're ready for summer sun.
Yeah, so hopefully the sun will be out by the time we go outside. But if you guys have any questions about anything we talked about or ideas for future episodes, or if you want to hear more just from the girls, let us know. And happy hitting. Thanks for joining you guys.
Thanks.